The NBA is horrified of this because the Warriors can win without Jimmy Butler. Steph goes off for a historic performance, and Steve Kerr released Jonathan Kuminga from the doghouse for a surprise start. And in today's video, I'm going to break it all down for you, the Warriors' incredible win over the Rockets, and show you how Jimmy helped turn things around from the bench. But before we do that, hey, what's up? This is Warriors Digest. I'm Arthur Ballesteros. You need to hit subscribe one time for the Warriors win tonight, a growing community of over 10,000 Warriors fans. You want to be a part of it because we are here for a celebration, baby. The Warriors beat the Rockets 104-93 in what was probably the hardest first half to watch that I have seen in so long. My God, I was ready to throw my TV out the window. That was so disgusting and so glorifying to see how they pulled it out. We're going to get into all of that. But first of all, look at the start to this game. My God, 18 points, a season low. It was super ugly. And it all started with the bad news that we got earlier in the day that Jimmy Butler was going to miss the game. We got the announcement from Shams over at ESPN just like 45 minutes before tip-off that he was going to be out. We already knew it was going to be a game-time decision. But then we get the surprise news, my God, after days of nonstop chatter, rumors, just all sorts of toxicity going on around the conversation with Jonathan Kuminga. And yes, yeah, I'm a part of that. I'm a part of the problem. Yeah, I will admit that. But he got the surprise start tonight. He was part of the first time I think we've ever seen this starting lineup here, which is wild because Steve Kerr throws out a different starting lineup like every 3 hours until he found, the one that locked in with Jimmy Butler. But we got Steph, Pods, Kaminga in the starting lineup, and Quinten Post, who, what a revelation, my God, my guy, he went off tonight. Crazy good defense. We're going to get into all of that, but weird starting lineup. But I guess, Kerr didn't really have a choice with what to do. He had to improvise here at the end with Butler being out, but it all turned out fine. But my God, it was so ugly early. I mean, the Warriors were lucky to take a brief 18-17 lead in the first quarter with 2 minutes left. But honestly, I mean, the offense was just brutal. Steph had only 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting in the first quarter. The team only managed 18 points total. That's a low for the entire season. Meanwhile, Fred VanVleet, looking like a Drake wannabe out there, was hooping. He dropped 13 in the first quarter. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to turn this off. This is embarrassing. What is happening here? But I'm so glad I stuck through it. Of course I would. I mean, we're Warriors fans. We got to stick through it no matter what. But my God, they did it. I can't believe it. And, I think that we need to give a shout out to our guy, GP2. We would not have had this win without his incredible performance in the second half. Let's break this all down here. I mean, GP2, at one point he had scored 9 points in a row in the fourth quarter. Just his corner 3 balls, he was just going off. It was incredible. Let's look at this box score here. Of course, Steph, really MVP of the game. My God, we take this for granted sometimes, but he put up 36 points despite that really rough start. And it really became clear early that he was going to need to play 40 plus minutes tonight if the Warriors wanted to have any shot, because early on there was a point here with the non-Steph minutes. Let me bring this up just real quick. This was in the first half here. The first 20 minutes with Steph on the court, the team scored 46 points, 17 of 38 from the field. In the 4 minutes he was off the court, 0 points, 0 of 8. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do here? We're not going to get any offense from anybody. But let's go back to this box score because the bench showed out. My Lord, GP2, Buddy Hield, who had me up and down off my couch the whole night, because at one moment he would get pickpocketed by Steven Adams, and then the next moment he would hit a clutch 3 in transition and bring the house down. The next moment he's dribbling the ball off his foot, and then he's coming in with another 3. He had 2 3-pointers off of offensive rebounds. This is exactly what we needed. Buddy, the streakiest player in the NBA, the guy who draws more hate than any other Warriors player aside from Jonathan Kuminga, from our own fan base, I just saw people ripping on Buddy all week, but my God, he's stepped up here. Dude, he ended up playing 29 minutes, 6 of 13 from the field, 5 of 11 from three, but those were so clutch. Look at his plus minus plus 14 with Buddy on the floor. Just don't let him dribble the ball. Stop. Just Buddy, my guy. Just be a catch and shoot shooter. Just be who you are. Be the person that your mama raised you to be. A catch and shoot shooter. Because every time he dribbled, we would get into trouble. But the Warriors actually did a really good job with taking care of the ball. Only 9 turnovers, I think, as a team here. But just such a team win off the bench with these guys. I mean, Moses Moody, shout out to him for taking a step back from the starting lineup. He's been struggling a lot recently, and I think that a lot of people haven't been really keying in on what's going on because there's been so much chatter about Jonathan Kuminga. But he had been struggling, removed from the starting lineup, but came in. He hit a clutch 3 there at the end. He only went 1 of 5 for 3, but, he's still playing great on-ball defense as well. And Kevon Looney, I mean, by next year, we got to figure something else out here. But, he still came in. He played some defense. That was about all he could do. Couldn't really do anything else. I think I saw him miss a couple of layups there. But I think that one of the big stories that everybody was watching was Jonathan Kuminga. And I know I have been getting railed on ever since I released that video about him where he talked about the quote of, him being frustrated about people telling him to be ready to step up in case he needed to. And so this was the test tonight. All eyes were on him. And he showed some flashes. Still disappointing. I mean, this was going to be a night where we needed to see somebody step up and take the secondary scoring load, hoping it could be him. I know a lot of the fan base was really hoping that. I was really hoping to. Look, I don't hate Jonathan Kuminga. He's a member of the Warriors. He is our guy. I've been following him closely for, 4 years now, day to day. But Lord, dude, it's just, I don't know. It's not really working out right now, but that's fine. The Warriors got the win. That is all that matters here. But I just know that the intensity is going to be picking up here around the conversation of Jonathan Kuminga kind of fumbling this shot that he got here. You tell me what you think. Did he fumble his shot here with this start tonight? You let me know. But I mean, I saw several instances there where, we were just really hoping for more, but he's pressing. You can just tell. And he's starting to become a little bit of a black hole. Every time he gets the ball, it's either, dribble, drive, try to get to the paint, force a shot up, or stop his dribble, pick up his dribble, and then go looking for somebody to pass to. So the ball's just kind of disappearing when it gets into Kuminga's hands. But look, there's so many players we can criticize on the Warriors. There's just a concerted effort on Kaminga right now because we all want him to be a star. We want him to be that. We need him to be that. And we're just not necessarily seeing that, but that's fine because this was a strength in numbers win tonight. I mean, just overall, great, incredible job to come back from digging yourself a hole. No Jimmy Butler. My God, this team, you did it. You did it. Anyway, let's take a look at these team stats because I think that they paint a really important picture here of what was going on. Warriors, again, getting just out rebounded. I mean, just to put it lightly, there's 63 rebounds from the Houston Rockets there. But I think the tale of this all here comes down to the turnovers, taking better care of the ball. Only 10 turnovers for the team. I mean, we'll take that. We had 6 turnovers alone for Steph in the last game. And this was really interesting. I saw this earlier here. Let me take a look here. This was an interesting stat. Teams are 19-3, which is an 86% win percentage this postseason when finishing with fewer turnovers than their opponents in a game. Teams were 44-30 last postseason and 42-34 in 2022, 2023 when doing the same thing. So really interesting what has shifted here so far in this early NBA playoffs in 2025. Basically, if you turn the ball over less than your opponent, you're going to win. Warriors did that tonight, showed how important that is. And now the Warriors take a commanding 2-1 lead. And I only say that that's commanding because this momentum that you get by winning this game without Jimmy Butler and then having another game at home here in San Francisco at Chase Center on Monday. I mean, this is an overwhelming momentum shift. This is a long series, though. Could potentially go 7. But this is interesting here to see. You basically have an 80% shot now if you're up 2-1 of winning the entire series. Now, this is, of course, a Warriors team who we all love dearly and know that they have blown a 3-1 finals lead. So nothing is ever really secure, but just gives us a little bit more hope here that 2-1 is a commanding lead, especially since we have this other home game coming up here. And, hopefully we can just put the series away in Houston because we're going to get Jimmy back on Monday, most likely. But Jimmy, I do want to say, it was really cool to see him on the bench tonight because he was acting like another coach out there. And there were a couple of moments where Jonathan Kuminga kind of ran into a little bit of trouble here, got yanked out by Kerr, and Jimmy came over to him. I'm going to go over this here. So this was a sequence here in I believe this was the first quarter. This was like 5 minutes in. They got Jonathan Kuminga yanked from the game. So he's trying to drive into the lane, but he just let me show you this again, because this is part of the reason why Steve Kerr has kind of had him on a really short leash here, because he's making moves like this where he drives into 2 opponents instead of having the spatial awareness to move to the right and get the layup. He gets yanked immediately after that. But the really cool thing that I loved seeing was right after that, you see Jimmy Butler go over to him and he's talking to him. And this was from Anthony Slater, who's a reporter for the Warriors. And he was saying that he could tell that Jimmy was talking to Kaminga about, going to the left there when he should have gone to the right to avoid those 2 defenders, and just coaching him from the bench there, which was really cool to see. But then you saw Kaminga come out on fire in the second half, which is what we want to see from Kaminga. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to feel the pressure of being on such a short leash, but this is what you really need as a player to step up and respond and have a burst here where you can build some positive momentum. And even though he didn't have a great game, 7 points, didn't shoot well, made some bad plays, but he also did help to shift the momentum. And that's all that we need at this point. We really don't need him to be the volume scorer. We don't need that at this point. We've got Steph, we've got Jimmy coming back. We just need him to contribute to some of these momentum shifts. And that's exactly what he did tonight in the second half. So I'm going to give you your props, Jonathan. I mean, really deep down inside, I want to just rip to shreds the game that he had tonight. But we're being positive because the Warriors won. And, I do want to give him some props. I think that he's a young 22-year-old kid who's under a lot of pressure. And he stepped up in a couple of moments here, which is all we can ask for. So anyway, I'm going to get off of Kaminga because this was just a great night of celebration here. But this is what we're looking at here. I mean, we could theoretically be looking at moving on as soon as April 30th. Now, I'm not going to put the cart before the horse here to sound like a 90-year-old, but this is a tough Houston Rockets team. And I do have to say that it was interesting to see tonight that while it was still a physical game, it didn't seem to be quite as dirty as game 1. Game 1 was just so dirty and so aggressive and so many cheap shots. You still saw a number of them tonight. And you saw the Warriors contributing to that as well with, Gary Payton set that hard screen on Dylan Brooks, knocked him down. You saw him get chippy. You saw Şengün and Quinten Post getting chippy, tying each other up there. Ooh, that sounds kind of nasty, but you know what I mean. But it wasn't quite as overtly dirty as game 1. And I think that there's a reason for that because I think that there's still a lot of scrutiny on Amen Thompson. I don't care what you say. I do think that part of that play on Jimmy Butler that ended up injuring him was partially intentional. I don't think that he did enough. I think he took advantage of the situation as he was falling. He saw Jimmy in that position. A lot of people are not talking about that. They just keep saying that Draymond Green pushed Amen Thompson. That's just not the case. That is not true. I don't know why people are continuing to lie to you. That is not what happened on that play in the last game. But so I think that the Rockets had to dial it back a little bit because they were really on the border of basically having this just turn into a boxing match. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond in the next game. But all I know is that we can respond by putting Jimmy Buckets back out there because he is most likely going to play and we can win without him. And so I don't give up what anybody has to say right now. So I am going to drink my water, celebrate this win, and I will talk to you tomorrow. There's going to be news that comes out, I'm sure, but I want you to celebrate, holler at your dogs, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.